Hello, welcome to the Baltimore IGDA. My name is Ryan, and I have a special guest. It's going to be Michelle Menard. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Awesome. Yeah, I've been busy, and we're excited because this week we have the Game Your Future conference. But today I wanted to be able to talk with you a little bit about your career and what you're currently doing, and how did you kind of get started with all this game stuff? Because like you're such a personality, and being able to like have such a interesting past as well. Like how did you kind of get started in games?
Personality is a very polite way of putting it. I like that. So
Firecracker? I mean,
loud.
Hmm.
I didn't actually want to do games at first. Games were always
Oh,
something that I had played, always had done in my life, but it was just
yeah.
something like, it was always considered just a fun hobby.
Hmm.
I actually went to school to be an opera singer.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
so something totally off the wall different. But it turns out, you know what industry is worse than gaming? Opera.
Hmm.
It's even smaller and harder to get into.
Yeah, I've
Um,
heard that. I've heard that.
Yeah, so I was having a somewhat small, like, mental crisis
Hmm.
my senior year of college, and I
Hmm.
was bemoaning this fact to one of my professors in the CS department, and she was just kind of giggling and having like a field. I'm like, "Why are you laughing at me? I'm like having a moment, and you're laughing." She's like, "How have you not figured this out yet?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was like, "You love games. You play games all the
Ah.
time. Like you're constantly doing D&D. Like all your independent projects have been game related. You do
Hmm.
realize people do this for a career, right?"
Oh.
Yeah. And so she was like, "Oh my
Funny.
god." Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. So yeah, I ended up going to grad school
Hmm.
for games just because I was not doing anything really portfolio worthy at all at
Hmm.
that point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Completely different
yeah.
field there.
Yeah, and so that was good because then I got to meet a lot of other people, do a lot of networking,
Hmm.
and build up some kind of game related resume and portfolio.
Hmm.
And then from there, yeah, I got my first job at Firaxis back in 2008, I think
Hmm.
it was.
Yeah, I saw that you started with like producing and writing, and then like you got your kind of design chops, right? And then being able to have an opportunity to actually design.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's
design was
awesome.
always what I wanted to do. Because like I also ended up
Mm.
getting an applied mathematics degree. I like making rules, doing math, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very, very hard to get a design position
Yeah,
right out of
yeah.
school, especially with no experience. And so production was a way to go in. Like I didn't do the QA route, I went the production route.
Mm.
Turns out I'm very bad at production because I'm not good with people. And when they didn't do the thing that they said they were going to do, I
Mm.
got mad. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Accountability. Yeah, but then like getting into the actual like, hey, I can talk shop about setting up a system,
yeah,
right, for
yes.
a game, and that's a thing that going back to like tabletop, right, and being able to work with like, hey, I like board games, I like Wingspan. I did an interview, or I had a presentation with. Elizabeth Hargrave from last year. That was a fantastic opportunity to talk to both Ed Beach and Elizabeth Hargrave.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that was definitely it was so production was good for that
Hmm.
reason because you get to talk to everybody and see how
Hmm.
everything fit. And while a lot of my like personal experience had been in board games, because like where I grew
Hmm.
up, there was not much to do, so we definitely
Hmm.
did board games and things just as something to
Hmm.
like pass the time.
Hmm.
Um,
Ah, okay, okay.
yeah, that's a much even harder industry to get into than like digital video
Hmm.
games because like you cannot. That is a tiny, tight knit little tiny thing. And it's so kudos to everyone who gets something published. Like I got
Yeah.
one board game published, and that was hard.
Hmm.
Like I love analog design, but yeah, that is a rough space to
Hmm.
get started in.
Yeah, like I was talking to Elizabeth Hargrave. She actually suggested what was it like Upwork, or no, not a Upwork. It was a local convention actually that specifically was for board game developers and board game fans, and you can really literally go and just uh, get in for free to be able to play unpublished. Oh yeah, it was Unpub. Yeah. With Unpub, it was just like a bunch of board games that you could play and like test with the creators, which is a very fantastic idea.
That's really cool. then at the very least it would help them too, because like even if you're doing
Mm.
something like a Kickstarter,
Oh yeah.
you need to have it tested and have people on the ground like rooting for you, because you
Oh
can't just go
yeah.
blind into one of those. Be like, it'll
Mm.
fund.
Yeah, so with design, like being able to set up a system right in like the spreadsheets, right, versus like trying to have that like paper testing or trying to have those ideas like convey to help find that fun, right? Like what's like a little bit of your headspace when getting into that?
I do actually think it's important to do both, but they're
Mm,
useful for different reasons, and you
true.
use them at different times in the project.
Mm,
Um, so paper prototyping is something that I wish more designers would do.
hmm.
And be more open to doing, especially early on in the projects. I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, we got to get the prototype up and running. And then they
Mm.
sit around on their laurels waiting for engineering to do something. It's like, what the hell are
Yeah,
you
it takes
doing?
time.
You do realize you can test this on paper,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't matter the genre, like it's definitely doable. So
Mm,
like at Oxide,
hmm.
Ara was completely built on paper prototype first
Yeah.
before the engine was ready. And we even put that in front of you, our testing.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely doable and you should do it, because there's no excuse to not test your designs out before you
Mm.
give it to the rest of the team to implement, because you're a bad designer if you do that. Shame on you. But once you've done that initial testing, yeah, everything needs to start living in spreadsheet land, because that's how you're
Mm.
going to keep track
Hmm.
of all the resources. That's how you're going to track, like, how they relate to each other. And so if
Yeah.
you're not doing that, you're not doing due diligence.
Yeah, as well as having the updated like master that has all the data that's driving the rest of the system, and making sure that it's all implemented correctly, so that when you have that change in the spreadsheet, it can convey to results on the screen.
Yeah, so I know I take it a little farther than some designers
Hmm.
do, but I'm not certainly not the only one who does this. Yeah, I build
Hmm.
fully functional simulators in Excel,
Wow.
that
Okay.
that is basically running comparable game code as to what's in the engine. So it's a really
What?
nice, even like not just a calculator, but also a gut check to be like,
Hmm.
is this implemented correctly? Is there a bug that was introduced even later? Because
Hmm.
you can run the simulation a few times, run the game, you're like,
Hmm.
wait a minute, they don't match anymore. Something
Hmm.
has happened. So it's really even useful for QA just to even see,
Yeah.
like, is this the intended thing? We actually
Hmm.
just happened at Dragon Snacks last week.
Hmm.
There was a bug introduced in combat and no one else found. I'm like, the numbers are wrong. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I promise you the numbers are wrong.
Yeah,
We
it's
found it this way.
interesting because my brother, I don't know if you've actually met him. My brother is Wes Griffin. He does QA. He did QA at Big Huge Games, right? And
Mm,
speaking of the past, actually, you also worked at Zanga, right?
yeah.
So how is that? Because like going from like PC and console, right, to like this like mobile space, it's a little bit different game, right?
Parts of it are very different. Parts of
Mm,
it are similar. Yeah.
mhm,
So that was after Firaxis. I left to go to Zynga. That was Zynga East here. It was
mhm.
being headed up by Brian Reynolds at the time, and that was right when free to play was really becoming a big thing. And so it was super interesting to kind of get in on that on the ground floor while it was
Mhm.
starting to trend up.
Yeah,
And at the time, it was pre-mobile. It was all Facebook games still built in
true.
Flash Builder. Yeah, it was
Yeah, that
time.
was a time.
Um, but I mean, as far as like basic design and
Mm,
sensibilities go, a lot of it is the same. It's just your
mhm,
session links are different, the motivators are different. And at the time, way back,
mm,
this was a long time ago,
mm.
the demographics were a little bit different
True.
for who you were designing for. But now it's much more ubiquitous across all the different platforms.
Mm,
But at the time, yeah, it was very exciting and different and like, kind of like cutting edge stuff.
mm. Yeah, and that's like a thing that I feel like mobile is like slightly hard to get into on the West. I know that Tim Train's kind of still doing it with like Marvel Snap for a little bit there, but like the space here locally, it still has that strategy DNA.
Mobile's rough. So like making a mobile game isn't actually too bad since
Hmm.
it's a smaller, more self-contained thing. You can make it a little tidier and neater. But the
Hmm.
problem is actually your cost to install
Hmm.
is so high. Like don't quote me on this, but I want to say it was
Hmm.
getting close to $5 per install is what it would cost if you're going to advertise to get the game downloaded. And since they're
Yeah.
all free to play, that's an
Yeah, that's
exorbitant
tough.
amount of money to spend per player. And so it's
Hmm.
not making the mobile game that's hard. It's getting into the market and making it
Hmm.
successful monetarily is nigh on impossible now if you
Hmm.
don't have some kind of pre-existing IP or
Hmm.
community based play on top of it because
Yeah,
it
that
is
makes
it is
sense
complicated.
why like so many either have like a major IP that people know about and want to pay money for, or a gotcha, like, or having some kind of like micro transaction. But that's not
Definitely some.
necessarily like the end all be all for having that in a game, because you can still have your like ship title, but it's got to be a different space, right? Because like mobile is its own beast, right? Like a
It is.
console and a PC is a little bit more of like my cup of tea, but I do play some mobile games every now and
Well, a lot of the world plays mobile, so if you're looking to make like a global type game, like
then.
mobile is something you definitely want to target, but
True.
it's becoming more I guess risky because of the whole
Mm,
cost to install. But what you
mm,
can do is ship first on PC and then
mm.
like build up that
True.
community and
True.
then ship on mobile. That's you're seeing some people do
Mm,
that now. But yeah,
mm,
it is a crowded
mm.
space, but it is far more popular in the rest of the world than it is in America. It is a
True.
lot of people's primary platform.
Mm. Makes sense. So let's see. You also worked. Yeah, so you also were a professor for a little while too. I also taught a little bit at some of the local colleges, trying to do like some 3D, and then I got hired at Oxide, and then I did that simultaneously for a little bit there. But you did that as well. Like how was that experience?
I really like teaching. I especially really like teaching at the collegiate level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I taught at a few different colleges, most recently being UMBC and SCAD.
Mm-hmm.
But I also taught at code in the schools for a little while, and that was more at the high school level.
Yeah.
I only taught middle school once and never again. Like I don't
Yeah,
measure
my,
that
my,
class
my
at all.
cousin did
Yeah.
that.
No. But I do like college, and I especially
Mm-hmm.
like freshmen and grad students. Those are my favorites. Seniors
Mm.
just want to graduate and they're just like, oh, I don't like teaching seniors. But
Yeah.
for freshmen are adorable. They're so happy and like little puppy dogs. They're like, they want to learn everything. And then grad students
Mm.
obviously are there because they've decided this is their focus. And so they're
Mm.
super into it. It's nice because you not only are you, it's a kind of a way to like give back from like a lot of your experience and what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but also you can see who the new upcoming people are,
True.
and not
Mm-hmm.
only help them learn what they need to do and like what
Mm-hmm.
they need to know, but also kind of start to pinpoint like good potential like mentees and
Mm.
potential future employees, and just starting to build those networking chains even for the
Mm-hmm.
younger generation, because we often forget that when we think networking we're always like looking up, we're like who can I
Yeah.
network with
Yeah.
upwards, but it's like no, also down, because they're also going to be in the industry at some point too.
Yeah, it's interesting because me being the president of the Baltimore IGDA for this year, and I was VP last year. We really wanted to get a event for a senior showcase and get all of the local colleges that had a game program, and have them actually show their senior projects
Yeah.
during the springtime, and that's been one of our most successful events, because it helps get the students out of their little bubble, right, and say, hey, there's another bubble over there, and then there's another
Yeah.
over there, and it's like you're pooling all your ideas, and then having industry folks come in as well, which is a amazing opportunity to help them both network on their peer level as well as on the professional level too.
Yeah, and like, and it all definitely comes back to marketing. Like, I
Mm,
don't know a single person, myself included, who got a
mm,
job without networking at
mm-hmm.
some
Oh yeah.
point. Like,
Oh
there
yeah.
was just no cold emailing. Like, yeah, I'll get a job. Like,
Mm.
no.
Yeah, like speaking of having that kind of interview, but like having it at a game company, because like one of the things that happened with me with Oxide was like I was able to actually come in, and they had an art open house, but they were like not hiring quite yet. And they wanted to like talk to people in the industry, and I ended up talking to Nate Hazlitt a little bit about like tech art in general. But like I was a little bit more of a actual like production artist. But like he was very like technical, obviously being the tech art director there. And with that, like it was great because I was able to get that kind of feedback, and then I was able to apply that to my portfolio, so that like 1 year later, when they actually were looking to hire, I already had that established relationship, and I showed that, hey, I took some of the stuff from the feedback and applied that, and that's great to be able to show that you're workable and able to learn and be humble, but also bring enthusiasm. So.
No, and it's the same in design. That's like whenever you go to conferences, or like little students are always like, "Hey, what can I put on my portfolio? How do I make myself more marketable? How do I like?" And that's so much of it is not just showing how to do the thing, but showing that you can take constructive criticism
Mm,
and feedback and do something with it.
mm-hmm,
Because this is not an industry for like lighthearted people who are like, or who are like, oh God, don't criticize my work, don't
mm,
look at my work. Like, you are not going to survive. You have to
mm,
be able to take harsh criticism and
mm,
then grow from it and learn from it and
mm,
apply it to what you're doing. So yeah,
mm-hmm,
super important on everyone's portfolios. Oh my
mm.
God, cannot stress enough.
Yeah, and especially with design as well, because like the design is something that's going to be iterative by nature, right? So
Yep.
you want to be able to find the thing that people are actually like enjoying, whether that's a mechanic, like tactile, or if it's something like visually, because like you have like UX design, you have like the music, like all these parts that are coming together for the whole experience.
Yeah, and the only way you're going to get that information is by putting it in front of
Hmm.
people. It's something I harp on a lot, is that you don't design for yourself. You're designing for an audience.
Mm.
That is not you. It's never you,
So
ever.
yeah, it was very funny because I was talking to a student actually recently, and he was having a challenge because he was designing the game for himself, but then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, why don't you actually go to like some like high school or like library, and I was like, just have somebody play your game to see if it's fun, and like he still hasn't done it yet. It's kind of like he's keeping his cards close. I'm kind of like, dude, no.
No, like, you want to do it as a hobby, by all means,
Yeah,
make a game for
exactly,
yourself. That's fine. But the
exactly.
minute you're trying to do it as a business,
Mm,
you're in the consumer-driven market. You have a consumer base
mm,
that is going to be your client, that is going to pay you money for this thing. It has to be made for them, not
mm.
for you. Otherwise, who is buying this thing? You're just going to hope that it's going to be successful. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
It's mind-boggling me.
yes, yeah, and that's kind of why for like a lot of the indies, like they have these events throughout the year where they're able to actually interact with an audience that's not their own little bubble, right? But they still need to be able to focus on like, hey, do I go early access for Steam? Do I go do a Kickstarter route? There's a lot of different like options there, but like getting that feedback is important.
And early, like, and get it as early as possible, like for
Mm,
realsies. And this is something I tell students a lot
mm,
too, is like, put it all up online, like write
mm.
blog posts, and for the love of God, don't worry about people stealing your stuff. It's not a
Yeah.
thing. Like, it's
Mm,
seriously not a thing.
mm,
And also, like, from a legal standpoint, you can't copyright mechanics at all.
mm,
Like, they're not copyrightable.
mm,
You can copyright code, but not mechanics. And
mm,
so you'll see there are similar mechanics all over the world, because that's just how it is. But at the
mm-hmm.
end of the day, it's not the idea that matters, it's the execution. It's
A
how
hundred
you took that
percent.
idea and yeah, and then finished it and actually made it playable. That's what matters, and that's not copyable, because that is
Mm-hmm.
you and that's your skill set and how
Mm.
you did it. So love it, just put it up online already so everyone can look
Yeah,
at it.
and that's also the hardest part is that execution, right? Because like
Mhm.
because that last because like when you get the idea out there, like that is like if you can get that to like 60% of what you want,
Yeah,
right? But then that last like 20% is that hardest part.
it's hard.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is definitely the hardest
Yeah.
part. So yes, get in front of people soon.
Yeah. So we're about like halfway through the conversation. I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit about an upcoming event called the Game Your Future Conference. So with the Game Your Future Conference, you're actually going to do quite a bit actually from looking at the schedule, right? So I saw that you have a presentation, a workshop, and a panel. Like that's so exciting. Like really awesome to be able to see that. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I'm doing four things. I just applied for a bunch
Four.
of
Ooh.
stuff thinking they'd
Ooh.
pick one. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is a lot.
Yeah.
At least it's
Yeah.
local, so that helps out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm doing a workshop on game design, and it's on paper prototyping and how to get
Mm.
something up and running quickly. And there will be a couple of twists, so it should be highly
Ooh.
entertaining, not just for me, but
Ooh.
for everybody else. So definitely come on.
It's
We
exciting.
bring in tons of craft supplies and stuff to play with,
Mm.
because that's where a lot of the fun constraints are. Like, what is this thing? I don't know. You tell me. You got to use it.
Mm.
Doing that. There is a panel on women in games.
Hmm.
And then a kind of like quasi, not really workshop, but talk on VBA for designers, which is
Mm.
going back to that whole like how do you build simulators and
Mm.
like more complicated spreadsheets in Excel, specifically Excel, not Google Sheets.
Mm.
And then there was also a talk with my two co-founders from Dragon Snacks on how
Mm.
to market your team and not your idea. So when you're going in front of things like publishers and VCs, how to best
Mm.
present yourself and position yourself to be successful.
All that seems amazing. There's only so much time, but like looking at the schedule, it just seems like there's so many opportunities because we brought in over 30 different industry speakers here to help share their knowledge. And this is something that like you would literally have to go to like New York or LA, San Francisco. Like this is something that's really amazing opportunity for locals and students alike to be able to help understand more about this industry and just technology in general.
Mhm. No, it's true, and I'm really looking forward to the networking
Mm.
opportunities there
Hmm.
because Baltimore is a huge
Yeah,
gaming
yeah.
hub, and it has been for like since the '80s. But
Hmm.
and it's always like kind of confused me that we haven't had a larger conference
I
out
know,
this way.
I
So I
know.
think it's really nice now that this is finally happening, and
Yeah,
like there are people coming for it. So
yeah,
yay!
yeah. And that's kind of the thing that a lot of the people at Game for Good and the Baltimore IGDA, like we wanted to be able to help it make more of an impact at the professional level as well as like with the city as well, like being able to help like have a opportunity because like it is a hidden gem for this area, and we want to be able to have it where we can have draw from other areas in the East Coast because there is a lot here as well. Because like most of the time when people think of gaming, they think of like California, West Coast, and Texas, right?
But it all started here. It
I,
actually all started here.
yeah.
Like there was Avalon Hill way back in the day is one of the first companies in the
Mm-hmm.
states that was making board games for adults and not specifically for
Mm.
children.
Mm-hmm.
So that and there's still some people floating around who worked
Mm.
there. And to show that games could be something serious and they could do something very unique and
Mm.
complicated. It wasn't just like a freaking monopoly. And
True.
then Microprose, obviously, like
Yeah.
the father of
Yeah.
PC gaming, was founded here.
Yeah.
So everything really does come back to Maryland. So yeah, it is upsetting that more people don't realize that it's
Mm.
like this is actually where it started, not the West Coast. So it's really nice to finally like kind of showcase all that.
Yeah. Silicon Valley. So yeah, all the big money there. Okay. So I think that pretty much covers most of the stuff with Game Your Future. So what kind of things would you advise your younger self? Like what are like some lessons that you can take as a professional and kind of impart that knowledge to the next generation?
Sure. I wish I had kept more stuff and documented
Mhm.
more things.
Documentation, documentation.
I do now. Like I am like the person who screams from the hilltops to document all the things. But like yeah, because like as I said,
Mm.
we made games and stuff all the time because it was boring out in the swamp in Louisiana. We didn't
Mm.
do much, so we made games. But do I have records of any of this? No. Did I keep any of them? No. Do I even have like pictures of it? No. There's nothing. It's just gone. And so just being able to build up like a body of work where you even just had some record of it,
Mm.
pay past self. What the hell? What's wrong with you? Save some of this next time.
Mm.
Um, but then yeah, like it's just kind of like to everyone else, it's like yeah, make games. It doesn't matter what
Mm.
your tool set is. It doesn't matter if you can program or not. It doesn't. You have index cards. You've got paper.
Mm.
You can make a game. Like you have stuff around your house. It doesn't
Mm.
have to be on a computer. And
Mm.
at the end of the day, all those skill sets transfer. If you can make a game that's like analog, you can make a game that's digital. It's just
Mm.
learning a different tool at the end of the day.
Mm. So, like, what's kind of like a good like book or like like a book or something that because like you wrote a book, right?
I did way back in it was published in 2011. Game design with
Mm.
Unity.
Mm.
Okay. It is not relevant anymore. Unity has
Yeah.
changed
Yeah,
drastically.
yeah, completely changed.
Do not
But
buy it.
I would say like more about design. Like
Yeah,
what's like some good books for learning good design.
sure. Um, so one that comes to mind immediately is a book called Challenges for Game Designers
Hmm.
by Ian Schreiber and Brenda Brathwaite, now Brenda Romero.
Hmm.
And it is just a compilation of actual exercises and things to
Hmm.
do. So if you're kind of confused as to how to start and what to make, it's a great first step. It just gets you making something because it
Hmm.
gives you like the constraints and like the
Hmm.
prompts to build a thing. And there's tons of them in there. Um, Another good one, it's sadly out of print, but I think you can still find copies of it online. It's called Patterns in Game Design. And it's just like the most phenomenal reference manual I've ever seen in my life. For just like you want a mechanic or a system, it's just a freaking encyclopedia of game mechanics, and it's fantastic just to be able to flip through it. And it's all really
Mm.
beautifully linked between like mechanics, things that work well, things that don't. So if you're just kind of stalled and you just want some reading while you're like trying to figure out what to do, yeah. Um, and then one that's a bit more off the wall, but I do find important is I think it's called The Design of Everyday Things, and it's actually
I've
more
heard of
about
that
human
one.
factor UX
Yeah.
design, nothing about game
Mm.
design, but that's super important, and it just makes you thinking again, like how do you approach different problems, how do people think?
Mm.
And the last one is called Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and it is a psychology book about how people are
Mm.
immersed or not. Well, and
Yeah.
basically the whole idea of the book is how to say like based on a player not a player but a person's skill level and
Mm.
the kind of challenges that they're given, when do they find that being immersed kind of like
Mm.
special zone, when are they bored and when are they anxious. And so
Uh,
from a game design standpoint, it's excellent research and reading for like how you can then basically immerse your players across skill and challenge.
Yeah, like that's the thing that I feel like with with game design, like you're taking this like abstract thing and trying to show what the player is thinking and what are like those mechanics that you can pull from to have the ingredients, right? And then you as the cook are like putting all this together and play testing, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
And just hoping that it lands and that you
true.
found a group of players that like that kind of dish, otherwise like oh no,
Yeah.
it's not gonna
Yeah, because that's a thing that say like your RTS, your real time strategy, right? Like that had its time frame, right? And then
Yep.
obviously like came back, but there's still like that nostalgia for some of it. But like who knows like if like some of that stuff will kind of like come back in some kind of way. But I think MOBAs and then like
I was
other
gonna say like
thing.
Bulba's killed it.
Yeah,
Bulba's took that market. Yeah.
exactly. Like
Um,
things evolve over time with the player base trying to figure out what they kind of like. Because like us as like professionals, like we're trying to think of our target audience, right? And sometimes that's a moving bar.
it is. It is always a moving part, especially when you start to cross generational gaps.
Yeah,
Like, not to make stereotypes, but like you can't design a game for like Gen X the same way you would design a game for Gen 8.
yeah.
Like Gen Alpha has completely different priorities and expectations, and
Mm,
even the way they want to consume media is
mm.
vastly
Oh
different
yeah.
than anything like X or millennials or even older wanted to
Mm,
do. So you do have to constantly stay apprised of like trends of what how people are interacting with technology and what's most important to them and how they want to spend their
mm,
time, because at the end of the day gaming is just another way for people to like wind down to have entertainment
mm,
to spend their time, and it is not the same as it used to be. So you have to
mm,
meet the players where they are, and you can't just force something on them like, well, this used to work. I'm like, yeah, but people are
mm,
different now and times have changed, so you've got to move on and learn and grow with
mm.
them.
Yeah, and that's smart being able to meet them kind of where they are, like whether that's with a theme or mechanic or platform.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it.
If you named all of them, that's yes, all of them. Those are the things.
Yeah. uh, Excellent. So I think so. We're about at a half an hour. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? With you've had a very storied career. Like I even saw that you got to talk at the White House like a while ago. That's actually pretty cool. But also we're in DC, right? So that's kind of like a thing where it's like, oh, I can go and visit like if you want to. But like for me since I grew up here, like being able to go like on a field trip, right, going to the National Mall and all that as a kid, but you were there as a representative of some kind.
Yeah, so that was I think we'll talk about it a little bit. There was a crowdsourcing and big data conference, and a
Mm,
couple of us were invited to go talk to White House technology advisors and officers about how gaming in particular could be
mm,
utilized to help them find patterns in big data and possibly get
mm,
just the general populace involved in some of their research initiatives.
mm.
So yeah, it was real interesting day.
Yeah, that's one
But
thing that like for me, like talking to a lot of the professors, and being the IGDA president, being able to help inform them and advise, like same thing with like code in the schools or any of the other programs, being able to have a technical advisor that is a actual like industry professional that lives and breathes it, right? Like having that is like invaluable versus having it all be like theory, right? Because like with a lot of the professors, like finding the ones that actually have that industry experience is invaluable.
it is, yeah, because otherwise, like, and I don't want to knock anyone or like any program, but
Hmm.
it
It's a
worries
general
me when I
trend.
see, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
when I
I've seen
see
it too. I've seen
programs
it too.
that are focused more on learning a tool chain than learning basic theory and
Yeah,
application.
yeah,
And sadly, a lot of them are just like, oh, I teach Unreal, I teach Unity. I'm like, but what are
hmm,
you teaching with that tool?
yeah,
Because that's the more important thing is learning the basics and the foundations and
hmm,
not the tool. Because even like now, a lot of, while more studios are using off-the-shelf engines, many of them still aren't. They're using proprietary tools and
hmm,
tech chains, and the tool doesn't matter. It's those foundations that do at the end of the day.
hmm,
So I do wish more programs would focus more on that and
hmm.
less on the tool.
Yeah, like for me in the 3D space, like I'm like talking to a lot of the local students, and I feel like a lot of the programs need just more time because like it does take time to be able to translate your like artistic skill and that technical knowledge, and then you do that for like years to be able to like establish, hey, like you can make good art but in 3D.
Yeah.
And there's so many different sub disciplines. Like that's a thing that your portfolio like graduating versus like entry level. There's that gap that you always need to fill, and that's kind of why like I like to mentor a little bit because like
Mm-hmm.
it is like this like ambiguous thing, but like being able to like ride that wave of like hey like you can get there like but
Mm-hmm.
it's being able to have that work ethic and like that technical knowledge with the actual well it's both tech and art but that's a aside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like if I'm hiring a junior, I want to see foundations and
Hmm.
more about like that person. And I can teach you a tool. I can
Yeah,
teach you that
yeah,
a job, but I don't want to teach you foundations.
yeah. Yeah, and that's actually a good point. Like I was talking yesterday with Michael Curran with being able to talk to him about like audio in general, and then I gave him a curveball about like what would you look for in a audio intern, and we had a chuckle of like, do those exist? But
Yeah, right.
of course, everybody gets their start, right? But like for design, right?
Hmm.
What do you look for in a good game designer?
Let's see. So like an intern or a junior, or
Uh,
not really.
intern or intern, yes, because that's on potential. But like let's say a junior.
Yeah. So kind of like what I said earlier. So you're gonna have to have a portfolio. Like I
Mm,
cannot say how many people I've seen apply who don't have a cover letter and don't have a portfolio. And I'm sorry,
mm,
those are mandatory.
mm,
Cover letter because one of the key main jobs of a designer is communication.
mm.
That is like your what's what you're doing. You are
Yeah.
communicating not only with your team what you're trying to do, but you're communicating with the player.
Mm,
And so if you can't write me a decent cover letter, that's an immediate like I'm sorry I'm not looking at the rest of your resume because
mm,
you have to be able to communicate your ideas clearly
mm,
and succinctly and funny, like whatever I'm looking for.
mm,
And then you have to have a portfolio. I don't care what coursework you took at the end of the day. I want to see you take something that from ideation to completion, and I
mm,
want to see then also some kind of analysis of what you did. I want to see you putting it in front of players. I want to see you capturing that feedback
mm,
and then making action plans for like they did this went poorly, this didn't do as well as I thought it would, this didn't hit, and this is my plan to make it better or to address their concerns or feedback, and then show that too. If you can do that in a portfolio, I'm far more likely to hire you because,
mm,
like, again, that's that whole like you understand
mm,
the basic work chain of how to take something from start to finish, and you can also take constructive feedback and
mm,
criticism and do something about it.
mm,
But then like yeah, I don't care at that point about genre or like what you build, whatever. It's like icing on the cake. Then if like oh,
mm,
if you make me a card game, I'm looking for a card game designer, like for entry level, cool, I'm slightly more interested, but it's really just more about showing that you have the mindset and the capability of going from A to B.
Yeah, and that's the thing with like for artists like with their portfolio, it's like yeah, there's much pretty images, right? But when you're like making like a level or like a character or something like that, like and you have a breakdown of like
Yeah.
the process, right? That workflow and like a retrospective, like that's like really awesome to see.
Exactly, because then it shows you what your thought process were, how you
Mm,
approach the problem, how you solved the problem, and that's invaluable when you're trying to build
mm,
a team because you
mm.
want to find people that are
Yeah.
going to mesh with that team in your workflows already. So like being able to see that pre like interview is
Mm.
fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Cool. Well, I think that's. So, one thing before we go, did you want to talk at all about like your current projects for Dragon Snack Games? Like, there's been a lot of interesting things going on locally here. I think there's at least like six plus like startups in the past like 2 years. So it's been really fantastic being able to see like that many people come together, and the Baltimore IGDA I feel like has been able to help network people, which I'm really proud of that.
No, yeah, the local IGDA here is fantastic.
Mm,
Like it is truly special. You guys are doing a great job.
thank you.
Yeah, I can talk about Dragon Snack. So
Okay.
that is a studio that I co-founded with Jim McLean and Kristen Koski. Last October, we just had our 1 year anniversary. Yay!
Woo!
I know, it's exciting. We are nominally full remote, but there are a lot of people
Mm,
in the Baltimore and Pennsylvania
yeah.
area that are employees. Like we do have a little cluster here, and then everyone else is kind of like singular all over the
Mm,
place. We are so we do have a website and we have a public Discord, which
mhm,
you can go join, just Dragon Snacks Games, and we actually have a playable up there that you can join the waitlist to download. It is
mm,
nominally our vertical slice that we took to
mhm,
Gamescom this year. But so what we're doing is kind of what I mentioned, like, meeting players where they are. We are
mm,
targeting Gen Z, younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha particularly, in building a multiplayer first social RPG where you were going to build a town with you and up to 16 of your friends on private servers. They're all whitelist only, no matchmaking, no rando, so it's a safer space than something like a
mm,
Roblox. And you're going to build a town, meet NPCs, invite them in, and then with you and your friends and perhaps the NPCs, go out into these procedurally generated dungeons and like kick butt on some monsters, collect resources, find new NPCs, treasures, and then bring them back, and then build stuff with your friends with these UGC tools that we're giving you. So like you can paint your own clothes or paintings or rugs, and then give them to your friends or sell them. We're also going to have like a book writer that you can
mm.
use in games, so you can write fanfic with your friends. Because when you're this age, that's
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
rage is
that's all the rage. Yeah.
fanfic, yeah, and doing that kind of stuff. And um, like playable musical instruments. You can have jam sessions with your friends. Because what we're noticing with this particular age group
Mm.
is that they are looking for a third space, like a safe
Yeah,
third space
yeah,
where they
yeah,
want to
yeah,
hang
yeah.
out with their friends. Because
Hmm.
when we were young, we went to the mall and we just
Yeah,
mall ratted around. You
yeah,
don't do that
yeah. Don't do it
anymore.
anymore.
So, but now this is what they're doing is they're playing a game with Discord up on their phone next to it because it's not the game
Mm,
that necessarily is what they're consuming. It's they want a space to hang out with their friends and there's
yeah.
something entertaining to do while they're hanging out with their friends. So yes, we are looking to build that platform and experience for them. So yeah, come on down, stop on by. It's a pretty active Discord server. There's actually a lot of students have joined recently just so they can kind of like ask questions and too. So that's all good. And yeah, join the waitlist. And we're pulling people off that waitlist all the time to get into the playtest. So yeah,
Yeah,
come on down.
excellent. Thank you for being able to talk about it, and I hope that Gamescom was very informative. Like that's another like big event there. Like hopefully being able to have like more of that kind of stuff locally is good too. But like being able to go to that because that's in Europe, right?
It's in Germany.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Germany. Yeah, yeah. Because like with that, like being able to have a different kind of culture, but like still having a good connection there, and having a lot of great feedback is important. So on the last thing before we go, is there anything else that you want to talk about before we head out? No.
No. I
No.
already gave my shameless
Okay.
plug for the
Okay.
companies.
All right. Well, thank you, Michelle. It's been a wonderful time. I really appreciate you taking the time, and looking forward to the Game Your Future conference. So that, again, that's going to be this Friday. It's going to be the November 14th through the 16th. We have 3 days and 30 plus speakers being able to impart their knowledge with our community. So thank you, Michelle, very much for your time, and we're signing off, and we'll see you next time. All right. Thank you very much. Bye bye.